So let us continue Nash Therapeutics study streak for 29th March 2025. And going further after podophyllum, we have Allosocotrina as one of the remedies mentioned by Dr. Nash. And this remedy will come of use very frequently in our everyday practice. If you are able to treat cold, cough, coryza, diarrhea, pain in abdomen, and the usual complaints which a general physician always cures, then you have much chances of reaching out to a wider group of people than just being known as homeopath or a doctor who cure just chronic skin diseases or some joint complaints which have been lingering for long, or some xyz gastric complaints which are lingering for long. You homeopaths should all we all should all be able to cure left, right, and center all the general conditions which are there in everyday life of the common people, and we should not be secluded and consultants. We should be general homeopathic practitioners rather than being a consultant. And the remedy Allosocotrina by Dr. Nash is one of the remedies which is going to make you everyday homeopath, which is what our aim should always be. So we have to consider this remedy alongside podophyllum. Both are aggravated during hot weather, both are aggravated during morning, and both are supplemented with sulfur. So whenever you give podophyllum, the case is improving or stagnant, or it needs some sulfur should be given. Whenever you are giving allosocotrina, the case is stagnant or it needs some push, sulfur should be given. Now, what are the peculiar characteristics? We all know from Alan's keynote, first set of few A remedies, we all by heart these remedies, and by the time we reach the alphabet C, we are all so much soaked up in knowledge that we abandon the materia medica from that point itself. It happens with everyone. So the random idea of writing the materia medica in a complementary fashion by Dr. Nash is one of the best things I have ever come across. And if you go through this book, you will also come across this write up as a fascinating story which kind of intrigues you, motivates you, inspires you, and pushes you from your chair to the clinical examination table or bed to the patient to check him or her, and also reach out to maximum number of people by your cures. So allosocotrina is a remedy mentioned by Dr. Nash in his book Leaders in Homeopathic Therapeutics. Stools, yellow, fecal, bloody, transparent, jelly like mucus. And when you think of jelly like mucus, you should think of the remedy Kali bichromicum. This comes in great mass or globs, like Kali bichromicum has a nasal discharge or any other discharge which is almost stringy and uh, globular like or viscid like. Now, there is a terminology which Dr. Nash mentions, and this is of prime importance if you want to cure a patient uh, of any pathology. But this symptom is very strongly present, which is something drops out of rectum. It can be the diarrhea, it can be the constipation. He gives a case of constipation also, if you see later on in the session and in the book as well. So some drops of rectum, stools, diarrhea, dysentery, constipation, anything, any pathology accompanying, but the rectum area is something which is almost unnoticed, something that comes out of it almost unnoticed. This is allosocotrina. Stools are passed involuntarily when expelling flatus or passing urine, and the rectum instead also has a particular sensation. On one hand, it has a sensation that it cannot control, or there is almost a kind of an involuntary action. On the other hand, it also has this opposite feeling that there is a heaviness or heavy fluid as if it will escape from the patient. There is a cause of insecurity in the patient, which he always feels. Another similar remedy Dr. Nash mentions is oleander, and another similar over here is muriatic acid also. Now he goes on to compare aloes, socotrina, and muriatic acid. And for aloes, he says that they are better by cold applications. Muriatic acid, they are better by hot application. But as we studied in podophyllum, this modalities of any remedies should be taken with a pinch of salt, because many times some of these modalities are quite common in certain diseases, so you cannot rely on it. So the best thing that we can do is to rely on the concomitants or some peculiar sensation or symptom of the patient. So it can not surely be a modality, but it can be some sensation or a concomitant extending from the main complaint or present in association with the complaint that has originated along with it. That can give you much better results than relying only on modalities. So if you're struggling in your acutes, if you're struggling in your cases somewhere, it can be chronic also, subacute also, analogy and prescribe the remedy, you will surely succeed. Next is comparison of aloes and muriatic acid. Both have blue hemorrhoids, but aloes has rumbling before the stool, whereas muriatic acid has no rumbling as such. And hemorrhoids itch intensely in allosocotrina, whereas in muriatic acid it cannot bear the touch. Now, next, we go further, and Dr. Nash describes how allosocotrina is aggravated by standing, walking, eating, drinking, everything. And in dysentery, it is so bad they have cured cases. That's why they claim to to see so. Violent tenesmus, heat in the rectum, prostration, fainting, and clammy sweats. And the weakness of sphincter ani, the insecurity of the anus or the sphincter ani, which is weak, which we saw, something that goes unnoticed, is also there in constipation. Now, there are some symptoms which we don't believe, that how can it be that in a constipation case there is, weakness of sphincter ani. The patient can tell that there is a stool which is mass of stool which is coming out. We always believe that paralysis of sphincter ani or weakness of sphincter ani must be there in diarrhea or dysentery cases. But he writes a beautiful line, and this is for all of us homeopaths who don't believe a symptom until you see it with your eyes. And what did he saw? What did Dr. Nash saw? 5-year-old boy with constipation since birth. He went to examine the child, and the mother told that he has constipation since birth. All sorts of enema were given, he did not improve. And now what we can do, we do not know how to help this little chap. And he bent the patient, and he saw that there was a stool mass line. It was kind of hard, but it went unnoticed. And there was this weakness of sphincter in a case of constipation also. So LOS 200 cured the patient. This is such an important symptom that it shouldn't go, you shouldn't overlook this symptom in any type of patient. It can be acute, subacute, chronic. It can be a case of liver pathology who says that I cannot control stools, they kind of ooze out very soon before I reach the washroom. Allosocotrina will set his liver right, as well as the primary symptom which he complains of. Next, what Dr. Nash tells us is that aloes and podophyllum both have prolapsus uteri. But what distinguishes allosocotrina, and this should be your set of questions when you have a case of diarrhea at hand, especially in hot summer, do you have a sensation of heat in the rectum? Is there any heaviness or fullness in the abdomen or in the pelvis or in the rectum? If there is any heat in the rectum or heaviness, fullness in the abdomen, pelvis, or rectum, aloes is a remedy that we should surely think of. So keep on following Homeo Setu, WhatsApp channel, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and you will surely get some interesting learning through this profile in 2025.